This is Caleb Barney with Russell Real Estate, and today we are going over the Ohio Fair Housing Form. And this form right here is just going to be what you need to know when you're buying, selling, or renting real estate. And essentially, what it says is that homeownership is the American dream and that it's a right that should be open to all people. So, the intent here is to provide equal opportunity for everybody and to not allow any discrimination to take place. So there's three components to it. You have your federal law, your Ohio law, and then your local city or community. But basically, the federal law prohibits the discrimination in the sale, lease, or rental of property based on 7 protected classes. Those classes are race, color, religion, sex, disability, familial status, and or national origin. They also say that it is illegal for anyone to force, intimidate, threaten, or interfere with any person who is exercising their rights under federal fair housing laws. Ohio law, in addition to those 7 protected classes, they also prohibit discrimination based on ancestry or military status. And then the local city or community that you live in may have expanded their fair housing laws to extend protection to other individuals. So it's always going to be in the state of Ohio these 9 protected classes, and then you might have more depending on your local city or community. So for sellers and landlords, basically you're not allowed to discriminate in the sale or leasing of your property. You have to make your property available for inspection, sale, or leasing to all qualified people, and you can't deny them availability or viewing on the basis of them being in one of those protected classes. You have to negotiate in good faith, so you can't treat them differently just because they are in a protected class versus if they weren't. And you can't show any preference in advertising, and that's both in favor of or against any of those protected classes. The only exception is if your home is handicap accessible. That could be a very good feature for obviously those who need it, so you are allowed to advertise in that regard. And then you can't request or expect a licensed broker or real estate salesperson to place any of the restrictions against any of those protected classes, and it is not allowed for them to obey an unlawful request. For buyers and tenants, just know that if the property is in your price range, it will be made available to you for your consideration without discrimination, and that you won't be discriminated in terms of financing, appraisal, or insuring your home. Reasonable accommodations in rules, practices, or procedures for persons with disabilities will take place. So that just means that, say you are handicapped and need a little extra time to view properties. That's just one example, but you would be given the time to do so. Expect that professional services of a real estate salesperson, including a wide range of housing choices in communities and areas without discriminatory limitations, will take place then. So basically, you have the freedom of choice of where you're going to live. And lastly, you should expect to enjoy and be free from harassment or intimidation for exercising your rights to fair housing. So there are 2 other terms that I want to go over. Blockbusting is one, and that is defined as inciting fear or influencing people to move from their home by stating that any racial, religious, or any derogatory remarks about a protected class are moving into that area. So if I want to get a listing, I can't go to a particular homeowner and say, oh, did you know somebody of this racial or religious background is moving in, to try to get them to sell. The other term is steering, and that's defined as denying or limiting the location or housing choices shown or making assumptions where a home seeker would be happy based on those protected classes. So I can't say, oh, you're of this race. Here, a lot of other people of that race live in this neighborhood. I can't steer you towards or away from those places.